Guten Tag, everyone. My name is William Wu, and it's an honor to be here with my esteemed colleagues to discuss my work.
Hello everyone, I'm Psyc Freud. You might have heard of me. I just want to thank you guys for having me and let you know I'm eager to engage in a lively discussion about women's influence in the field of psychology.
Hello, I'm Karen Hornine. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward for discussing the implications of women's work, both positive and negative.
Hello, I'm Anna Freud, and I'm excited to explore how women's work has influenced psychology over the years.
Let's see if Woon is capable of taking some criticism from female colleagues, shall we?
Agreed. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts.
As many of you know, my journey into the field of psychology began when I established the first psychology laboratory at the University of Leipzig in 1879. At the time, the field was heavily influenced by philosophy and physiology. I was determined to create a new discipline that studied the mind using experimental methods.
Indeed, Willem. Your work laid the foundation for modern psychology. However, I must admit that our perspectives on the human psyche differ significantly. While you focus on the conscious mind, I delve into the depths of the unconscious.
That's true, Sigmund. My approach, which I called introspection, aimed to analyze conscious experience into its most basic elements. I believe that by examining these elements, we can understand the structure of the mind. This approach is later referred to as structuralism.
While your work was groundbreaking, Wilhelm, I must say that your focus on conscious mind and the use of introspection as a method had its limitations. The human psyche is much more complex than what can be observed through introspection alone. I believe that exploring unconscious motivations and interpersonal relationship is vital for understanding human behavior.
I agree with Karen. In my work with children, I found that understanding their unconscious motivations and defense mechanisms is crucial to helping them overcome difficulties. Nevertheless, we cannot ignore the importance of women's work in establishing psychology as a separate discipline.
I appreciate your recognition, Anna. My goal is to create a foundation for the scientific study of the mind, even though my methods may have had their shortcomings.
Willem, could you please elaborate on some of your most interesting experiments for our audience?
Certainly. One of my most well-known experiments involved the study of reaction time. I designed a machine to measure the time it took for an individual to respond to a stimulus. This research demonstrated that mental processes could be measured and quantified, which was a crucial step in establishing psychology as an experimental science.
That is absolutely fascinating. That certainly set the stage for the field of cognitive psychology and the study of perception. Speaking of perception, can you tell us about your theory on the matter?
Of course. Apperception is the process through which our minds actively organize and integrate new sensory information with their existing knowledge and memories. This allows us to form a unified and meaningful perception of the world around us.
Willem, I find your explanation of apperception to be fascinating. However, as a psychoanalyst, I must emphasize the importance of considering the role of unconscious processes in shaping our perceptions and experiences as well. As my father Sigmund demonstrated in his work, the unconscious mind plays a significant role in influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, in the context of apperception, I would agree that our unconscious memories, desires, and unresolved conflicts could also impact how we perceive and process sensory information. While your research on apperception provides valuable insights into the conscious organization of sensory information, I believe that a more comprehensive understanding of human perception must also account for the role of the unconscious mind.
I think both of you were correct in some ways. By considering both the conscious and unconscious aspects of the processes, we now have a richer understanding of the complexities of the human psyche.
Another fascinating aspect of our work, Wilhelm, was your focus on cultural psychology. You aim to understand the human mind within its cultural context, arguing that mental processes are shaped by cultural influences. This idea laid the groundwork for the developed cultural psychology, an important subfield in our discipline today.
Thank you, Karen. I believe that to truly understand the human mind, we must understand it in the context of cultural factors.
While your contributions to the field of psychology have been significant, it is essential to address the criticisms that your work has faced. For instance, some have argued that your approach was too reductionist, attempting to break ground with complexities of the human mind into overly simplistic elements.
I understand that criticism, but my intention is to create a starting point for the further exploration of the human mind. That's what introspection was. I added a structured framework to the analyses of subjective experiences.
One aspect of Wundt's work that I find particularly intriguing is his focus on the role of emotions in human experience. Willem, could you please elaborate on your thoughts about emotions and their significance in psychology?
Absolutely, Sigmund. I believe that emotions are essential components of our mental lives and are closely tied to our conscious experience. I developed a theory known as the tridimensional theory of feeling, which posits that emotions be categorized along 3 dimensions. I was attempting to systematically organize and understand the complexity of human emotion in a measurable way.
That was an amazing discovery, which laid the groundwork for future research on emotions and their role in human behavior.
I agree, but it's interesting to note that while your work was focused on emotions, your perspective on gender was quite limited. As a female psychologist, I can't help but mention your views on women was outright sexist.
I acknowledge that my views on gender were misguided. I was influenced by the cultural context of my time. However, I must emphasize that my primary focus is the scientific study of the mind, and I believe that my work contributed to a more inclusive understanding of human psychology.
Well, okay, guys. I would like to know how each of you think the field of psychology has evolved since Wundt's time, and how his work influenced your own.
Well, Subin, Wundt's emphasis on experimental methods and the scientific study of the mind certainly paved the way of later psychologists, including myself. I also believe that Wundt's focuses on the importance of cultural context has been particularly influential in shaping my understanding of human behavior.
For me, Wundt's dedication to the scientific study of the mind was an inspiration. While my work in child psychoanalysis involved exploring unconscious and motivations, I recognize the importance of maintaining a rigorous and systematic approach to understanding the human behavior. Wundt's work serves as a reminder of the need for empirical methods in psychology.
Thank you for that. As for myself, Wundt's structuralism differs from my own psychoanalytic approach. I must acknowledge that his insistence on creating a scientific basis for the study of the mind has had a profound impact on the field. His work demonstrated the need for psychological inquiry to be grounded in empirical evidence and rigorous methods.
Thank you for all your kind words. As a pioneer in my field, my aim was to establish a framework for the scientific study of the mind. It's gratifying to know that my work had an influence on each of you despite our differing perspectives.
I must add, though, one significant limitation of Wundt's work was his reliance on introspection as a primary method of investigation. Introspection, or self-examination of one's own conscious experience, is inherently subjective and can be influenced by biases and individual differences. This makes it difficult to establish reliable and objective conclusions about the nature of human experience.
I understand that criticism. However, I believe it served as a starting point for a more rigorous exploration of the human mind, and it laid the groundwork for subsequent psychological research.
Another area where Wundt's work has been criticized is his focus on breaking down the mental processes into basic elements, which some argue reduces the complexity of the human mind to an overly simplistic model. The reductionist approach does not adequately capture the full range of the human thoughts, feelings, and behaviors.
While it's true that my structuralist approach aimed to simplify mental processes, I maintain that it was necessary to establish a scientific foundation for the field of psychology.
Additionally, it is important to consider the historical context in which we work. His perspectives on various aspects of human psychology, such as gender and cultural differences, were inevitably shaped by the prevailing beliefs and biases of his time.
I agree that recognizing the limitations of my work is crucial to the ongoing development in the field of psychology. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from all my esteemed colleagues. Thank you all for your feedback.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna fight.
Warning.
Oh my God!